Okay, John, Lauren here, and I've got a story for you. This is the mother of all crazy girls right here, and I wonder if you are going to have any sympathy for her. Okay, so this girl might be the greatest con artist of all time because her parents are tiger parents, and she lied to them about some crazy stuff. Not like once over dinner, but like years. We're talking falsifying documents. Anyway, you'll find out what happens next when you get into the story, and there's a special twist for you at the end. Please cover the story of Jennifer Pan. Well, welcome back to another episode of Talk Murder to Me, folks.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
How was everyone's weekend?
It was a nice weekend, actually. It was very relaxing.
I'm glad.
We took the dogs to the beach. We went to the bookstore on Saturday. We went to Vicious Biscuit.
Oh, I haven't been there in so long.
The only other time we went was with you.
Oh, yeah.
And
Tissy.
It was delicious.
You know, there's one in Somerville now, too.
Is there?
Mm-hmm. Next to Hall's.
It was delish.
Well, I had a decent weekend and an even stranger morning. So, like, I never checked my mailboxes, like, at home. Not like I have more than one. My one mailbox that I have. I don't check it usually because it's just spam, like, progressive, you know, whatever, stupid stuff. But I was leaving for work today, and something made me say, Jen, check your mailbox. I don't know why. So I did. And inside, there was a package. So I opened it, and there was no one I knew who sent it. It was a name that I didn't recognize from someone in Michigan. And I was like, okay, that's weird. So I opened it, and inside was a package of the new Lady Gaga Oreos.
Did we determine what flavor Lady Gaga Oreos are?
They are vanilla Oreos. They're just food colored, but they're good. Anyway.
Or do they taste different?
They're a little sweeter than like normal vanilla Oreos, but they're just regular vanilla cookies. I was like, oh my gosh, someone sent me these Oreos and I have no idea who this person is. And I literally went on like a rampage. I was like, oh my God, like, how did this person get my address? Because I don't know anyone in Michigan. So
where did this come from?
Exactly. I was concerned for a little bit that I had a stalker. So I like even made a video on TikTok that was like, what is going on like with these Oreos? Thank you so much to whoever sent them, but how did you find me? And then I sent it to Tara, my video, and she was like, oh, those are for me. And I was like,
so good, safe to say, there is no stalker, which is a good thing.
It is. But like my life was so exciting for 2 hours this morning because I thought that I had this mystery on my hands. But I was also like, it
was still a mystery who sent it.
I know. But, you know, I thought it was going to be, you know, exciting and not.
Sorry, Tara, you're not excited.
No. And that's not what I'm saying at all. I
know what you mean. I'm
so thankful because I did want to buy those Oreos and I haven't yet, but.
Can you not get them in stores?
You can.
Oh.
You can. She just saw them and thought of me, which was really sweet.
That is sweet.
So, and it was also her birthday yesterday, so happy belated birthday.
Nice. Happy birthday.
But anyway, so it was really kind of anticlimactic. But I really was excited to get them. I never get packages in the mail, but it was funny. It was an interesting start to the week.
I'm glad you got your Oreos.
All right, so Nicole, can you tell us what day it is? This is coming out on Tuesday.
So, if this is coming out on Tuesday, we have a treat in store for us.
What is it? For all of us?
For all of us.
What is it?
I mean, for like most people, because most people love this food.
Well, what is it?
It's National Pizza Day!
Oh my God. That's amazing.
It is amazing. Pizza is one of the world's most favoritist foods. It is the second most popular food, only behind
French fries. Hamburger.
The the hamburger.
Just because I edited your
Yeah,
episode.
that's true. In terms of fast food.
Did you know that the original hamburger as we know it was created in New Haven, Connecticut?
I did not know that.
Yeah, there's a restaurant called Louis Lunch, and it's so cute and old-fashioned-y, but it was very good. Simple, but...
Well, I do talk about the origins of pizza in the Every Day is a Holiday episode. So if you are ever curious about how pizza got its start, particularly the margarita pizza, it is got some interesting factoids in there and about how much we consume pizza and all that good stuff. Most people eat pizza at least once a week.
Huh. That's awesome. We should get Benny's tomorrow.
To celebrate.
But you know what it doesn't need its own holiday because every day is good for?
Surprise shots.
That's right. Surprise shots. Surprise shots. We don't know what they are because they're a surprise. You know, I had a student tell me that there is a right and a wrong way to play the bongos today. He plays percussion in the band, and I was asking him about, learning how to play the drums. And I was like, I played the bongos, and he's like, yeah, he's like, there's like actually like a right way and a wrong way to do it. And I was like, oh my gosh, have I been doing this wrong the entire time?
Just don't tell me.
Don't need anyone to tell me how to do my job.
Well, don't you have to be in a drum circle and smoking weed to play bongos?
I don't know.
That's not what we do here. We just take shots instead.
We're in a drum circle and take shots. Cheers. Is that the praline?
It is maple pecan.
Ooh.
So tonight's story is for one of our good friends and Taco Supremos. She posted it on the forum, and we're going to be covering her story tonight. So this one is for you, Lauren.
Ooh, Lauren!
Hey, Lauren!
We've covered some of her stories before. They're always excellent.
Yeah, she's picked some of our favorites, actually.
Yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to delivering this story. This is kind of a large story. A lot of the direction of the story I decided not to go down, and we're just going to focus on one part specifically. But I believe it's a really good story, and thank you so much for requesting it, Lauren.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thanks, Lauren.
Can't wait to see you soon, whenever we can.
If this is your first episode, I put all my sources. Well, first, welcome. I put all my sources on talkmurder.com. You can go there and click on the blog post. You can also use the search bar to search for the number. This is episode 216. If you want to follow along with us tonight on video, this is on YouTube, and we're streaming this to put it on YouTube. If you're listening to this right in the morning when the episode comes out, the YouTube video may be a few hours behind, but it will be there eventually. So be sure to subscribe. You can go to talkmurder.com and follow along with the pictures and the blog post and all my links and sources like that. But for you guys on YouTube, this is Google Earth as usual, and this is where we're going tonight.
Michigan.
No, this is actually in Ontario.
Oh, across the border, eh?
Mm-hmm.
These houses are nice.
Very nice.
Yeah, so this is 238 Helen Avenue, that house right there you're looking at. Can you kind of describe the neighborhood, Nicole?
It looks like a very nice neighborhood. The houses look pretty new. Like 2-car garage, 3-car garage. They look like big houses, a little close together, but very, very nice.
$300,000, $400,000 houses or something.
Yeah,
like
wow.
At least.
Yeah.
I
Even
mean,
down here.
in today's market, it's probably more like 500
Canadian dollars or...
Oh, I can't do... I don't know. Our dollars.
The house that you're looking at is 238 Helen Avenue, Ontario. The house is no longer for sale. It is off market. Do you see that girl right there?
Yep.
Yes.
That's the house. She's right in front of it.
Oh, cool.
Interesting.
So
is she a player in our story tonight, or is she just a random person?
I don't know who that is. This was taken in 2018. So I don't know who that is. But you can kind of see the house. It's pretty nice. Got a two-door garage. And the house is, like I said, off market. I think the state owns it.
Interesting.
So we're going to Monday, November 8th, 2010. This is the Jennifer Pan story. Has anybody heard of Jennifer Pan?
No.
No?
This is the 911 call that came in. around 10:30 p.m. It was a Monday night, November 8th, 2010.
911, Drew.
Help me, please. I need help.
Where are you, ma'am?
238 Helen Avenue. I think we just got robbed. I don't know where my parents are.
Ma'am, calm down. What's going on?
Some people broke into our house and they just showed all his money. And I couldn't hear my parents yelling downstairs. Please send help.
Ma'am, where are you? 238 what?
Avenue.
238 Avenue Road.
Yes.
Can you spell the street name for me, please?
Dad?
Do you hear that?
No, I'm calling home.
Ma'am. Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Ma'am, I need to know your address. Avenue Road, can you please spell it for me?
238 Helen Avenue. My dad just went outside screaming.
Ma'am, can you spell the street address for me, please?
Helen. Someone broke in and I heard shots like pops. I don't know what's happening. I'm tied upstairs. I think my dad went outside and he's screaming.
Okay, you're upstairs? You think someone's still in the house?
I heard them leave. I don't know if they're still around.
Okay, are you safe? Can you lock your door? Are you upstairs?
I can't. I'm tied. My hands are tied.
You're tied?
I had my cell phone in my pocket.
Someone invaded your home, ma'am?
Yes, and
You
I
heard
heard
gunshots?
pops. They had guns and they were holding me at gunpoint.
Wow.
All right.
God damn, I could never be a 911 operator. Whew,
Yeah.
talk about high stress.
Yeah, no way.
I could do it. She handled that like a boss, the operator.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she did she did a really good job, but man.
Well, there are a couple of questionable things about that call, so I'm interested to see what you have for us, John.
Well,
Item number
what do you mean?
1, if she was tied up, how could she
She said she had her phone in her pocket.
Which, if she was tied hands front or in her back pocket, like, I guess it's possible that she could access her phone.
It depends.
Depends on where her phone was and where her hands were tied.
How tight the knots were
Well,
tied.
she could have been like, "Hey Siri, somebody's breaking in."
Yeah, hey Siri, call 911.
No, I'm just kidding. This is 2010.
This is too, yeah.
Oh yeah.
What else?
Also, I wasn't sure if when I got confused, I thought she was, when they said, is anyone there? I thought the operator was talking about the intruders.
Yeah.
And so she was like, hello. So I was like, why is she calling attention to herself?
Same.
No, so basically what happens, it's 10:13 on the dot, 10:13 p.m. on a Monday night is October 8th, 2010, and 3 assailants break in. Now, this is a nice neighborhood, as you just saw,
Very nice.
in Ontario, and inside the garage, for instance, is a Mercedes and a Lexus. So this is, most likely from first appearances, a targeted robbery. For
money.
For money. And then they were
or
yelling
whatever's
for
in
money.
the house. Yeah.
And then on the 911 call, she actually says they demanded money. And then she says, I just heard my dad run outside. You can actually hear him screaming.
Yeah.
And then on the 911 call, and then he runs outside of the house. After that, you can hear the first responders get there and go find her upstairs. So anything else about that call?
I mean, I guess, were the assailants still with Dad at that point when he's screaming?
Oh, no, they left.
So I'm wondering
That's what I couldn't tell either.
One of the assailants said, quote, "We've been here too long," and they left. So,
But was Dad tied up? Well, I'm gonna let you
Dad
get to
wasn't. All right. So the photo you're looking at right now, if you want to describe this couple the best you can, what nationality do you think this couple is?
I'm really bad at this. Maybe
You're going to sound really racist, whatever you say, if it's wrong.
They are Asian.
What kind of Asian?
I was going to say maybe Filipino.
No, I think they look Chinese. I'm being serious. People in different cultures in Asia have different shaped faces.
This is true.
They all
I
look
don't
the
know.
same. And Asian people would say all Americans look the same. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's true. All white people look the
All
same.
white people look the
all
same.
black people look the same. Everyone looks the same. That you're not.
They look all the same to me. I'm just saying. They do.
There are some distinct
There are.
differences.
If you,
like those basketball players that are like 7 feet tall.
well,
maybe.
Yao was a
He was
great
Chinese.
player. I'm sure.
Okay, anyway, this is a Vietnamese couple.
Oh,
They
Vietnamese.
both grew up in Vietnam. This is Huy Han Pan, the guy, the male, the father, and his wife, Bich Ha Pan, Bich -HA, like haha, Pan. They have a daughter, Jennifer Pan, which was the 911 caller, and a son who was at university. He was in McMaster's University studying an engineering degree, so he wasn't at the house. Now, this couple right here, they are, like I said, they're from Vietnam. He actually, I'm going to give you kind of a background of this couple. Han grew up in Vietnam. He attended college for tool and die and diesel mechanics. And this couple, both individuals were known as boat people. There's a real term that defines the Vietnamese and Asian asylum seekers that moved to Canada. This is after the Vietnam War and the fall of Saigon.
Gotcha.
They take asylum in Canada, and they move over here around 1975.
Got it. Okay.
So they come over here to seek a new life. So with the wife, the same story. They got married in Canada. The main goal for both of them was building a great future for their children. Just like every immigrant story you hear, they work really hard so their children don't have to. But then what happens? Like they still are that demanding on their children, even though
they want a better life for their children than they had their own. I think that's a universal thing. Perhaps a little bit more so if you're coming to another country.
So, as I said, they had one daughter, Jennifer Pan. She was born June 17th, 1986. She had a little brother, Felix. He was not at the house. 3 assailants break into the home. One is screaming, quote, "Where's the fucking money?" End quote. He screams that over and over and over. Now, this is all taken from the police testimonials and the testimonials of Jennifer, right? That this is what they're screaming. 2 parents are at home. Jennifer is upstairs calling 911. She is tied, hands behind her back. She is tied up to the banister with a pair of shoestrings. They're actually boot strings. Han pleads, quote, "I have $60 in my pants upstairs, but my possessions are worth plenty." End quote. He's trying to appease the attackers because obviously they want money, but he doesn't have money right there. As far as cash goes, he doesn't have cash. He's got $60. His wife has $240. Jennifer has $20 on their possession. The father gets hit in the back of the head with a pistol.
Okay.
Boom, clocked on the back of the head. He instantly passes out. He instantly goes unconscious. And then the attackers drag both him and his wife downstairs to the downstairs basement. And I'm going to put the crime scene photos on talkmurder.com of the crime scene here. So go there if you want to see. The mother screams, quote, "You can hurt us, but please don't hurt my daughter," end quote. Okay, now this is from the Toronto Star, March 26th, 2014, if you want to read this, Nicole.
"Please don't hurt my daughter," Jennifer Pan's mom begged before she was shot to death.
Ooh.
One of the 2 men holding them at gunpoint put a blanket on his head and shot him, he said. He then lost consciousness. When he woke up, he saw his wife lying at his feet. Bich Hak Pan had been shot 3 times, while Han Pan was shot twice, once in the back and once in the face, the Crown prosecutors told the jury in her opening address.
They're both shot. There's a total of 5 shots. And
so Han was still alive, even though he was shot in the face.
Yeah. So you heard him screaming on the 911 call. And go back and listen to it. Maybe I'll put a little sound clip in here, but you can barely hear it. He's like, "Ah!"
Yeah,
and
you could hear it.
Yeah, for sure.
He actually runs out of the front door.
Wow.
He has actually been shot twice, once in the face and once in the back.
Shoot.
Yeah, so he was shot twice, once in the back and then once in the face. He runs out after that with the 2 bullets still in his body.
Does he live? Does he survive this incident?
We'll talk about that in a second.
I can't wait.
Know,
The suspense
I
is killing
know
me.
if he lives. Han remains calm, resigned to his fate. His wife is hysterical. The assailant readies himself, aims, and fires. 1 bullet rips through Han's face, fracturing the bone near the inside corner of his right eye, grazing the carotid artery. The second bullet hits him in the right shoulder, exiting out the back of the top of his shoulder. The men turn their attention to his screaming wife. The initial blast from the firearm pierces the base of her neck. A second shot tears through her upper right shoulder, and a final bullet, this time fired at a close range, enters and swiftly exits her skull. A fatal shot.
And this right here, what you're looking at is the den of the house. And I'm going to show you a better evidence photo here, but I just want to show you the inside of the house, like right by the front door.
Okay, so here's my initial thought. If it's a robbery and you encounter, like, I feel like it is actually kind of strange that someone would break into a house when they know that somebody is home to rob them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps the intent was to kill. Episode 216, here we go.
You're starting to sound like a true detective here.
Well,
so yeah, that's a really good point. And well, go ahead, Jen. What do you guys say?
I was also going to say, I know that the mom said, you can, hurt us, but don't hurt my daughter. I just think it's interesting, like, if they came into contact with the daughter, that they just tied her upstairs when they took the parents and put them all the way down into the basement. They went to all that trouble instead of just tying them up wherever they were. Or
so you think they should have killed her?
No, I'm not saying they should have killed her.
Perhaps the daughter is involved in some way.
You think the daughter's involved?
I don't know. I'm just trying to get some speculation
here. Yeah, I'm
here.
just trying to understand the thought process. I just think it's weird that if they're gonna kill someone, and I'm not saying that she should have been killed. I wanted to make that very clear. I'm just saying if they don't care if they're going to kill someone or not, why wouldn't that?
It's a lot of work for what they
did instead of just
for the outcome.
Yeah.
If they're going to kill everybody anyway.
So the primary detectives in this case brought up some of the same similar points. For a robbery, that was a really good point. You said most targeted robbers, which means, hey, they obviously got money. They're not going to go into a home when they know 3 people are in there because something could go wrong. Even if they didn't want to murder anyone, something could go wrong and someone gets murdered.
Yeah.
Now they're looking at life in prison instead of just
a couple years.
Mm-hmm. Most robbers, they spend 6 years in prison, they're out.
But not only that, like if they're going into a home where someone is home, not only could something go awry and they kill someone, but they could end up getting hurt or killed as well.
Very true. Very true. The homeowner could have a gun themselves.
Yeah. So, and not only that, there was actually hardly none of the possessions taken. There was cash still on the counter. The father said he had $60 in his wallet. It's not a lot, but if you're robbing anyway, might as well just take it. There was $240 in the mother's purse that was still there. And Jennifer had $20. I know that's not a lot of money, but you're robbing this place anyway. But plus you have 2 cars, both a Mercedes and a Lexus in the driveway, plus all the other possessions in that house.
And nothing was
jewelry.
taken.
There were credit cards. There were all kinds of stuff. There was silver, all kinds of. I mean, if you're going to rob that place, if you're on that show where you you're at the supermarket and you push the buggy
Supermarket sweep?
Yeah, and then you have like 60 seconds.
Yeah.
If you're at this house, you could fill that buggy up with stuff to freaking steal. I'll tell you that right now.
Also, if
they didn't take anything.
If they're just going for cash, even if they're not going for possessions, $300 in change is not worth, again, what they did.
Yeah, and there's probably a lot of houses on that street that were vacant that night or empty that night. And I feel like 3 robbers, they would do a little bit of homework.
Just to see if anyone's home.
Yeah.
Like, that's not that,
But also, it's a nice neighborhood, so they could have split up and each hit a separate
like
house
a
as
Home
well.
Alone situation.
Yeah.
What was that show we were watching? It was like how Home Alone really would have went. And what's his name? Murph or whatever the guy's name is, one of the robbers.
It was American Dad.
Murph. Yeah, so Murph goes up there and Macaulay Culkin is like, "You're not going to get me." And then he's about to do one of his stunts, and then that Murphy just pulls out a pistol and shoots him in the forehead.
Oh my God. That's terrible.
It's like, this is the real story.
But I mean,
it's true.
Not inaccurate, so.
So here is the murder weapon used. It's not the actual one in evidence because that photo is not available, but this is a .38 revolver special. Do you want to look at that? It's basically a cowboy gun to y'all females, right?
Hold on loosely.
Y'all call them
special?
cowboy guns?
I didn't realize that 38 Special was after a gun, but I guess that makes sense.
This photo right here is of the father. That's him getting taken out of the crime scene.
I hope
Remember, he got
lives.
shot twice.
Yeah.
What you're seeing now is the murder scene. This is where it happened. This is in the basement. So, as I said, the robbers took both the mother and father downstairs to the basement.
I'm calling it. The daughter's involved.
Now, the mother was on that blanket right there. So the blanket you're seeing there, that blue blanket, you see it right by a leather couch. It's kind of like a little den area in the basement. And there's blood splattered all over the couch, which you're seeing there. You're also seeing blood splatter all over the floor. It looks like a massacre in here. The mother's body was lying on that blue blanket. And you see where the shots were. You see the evidence tags. Those were the 3 shots. That's where the bullets ended up. The mother, Bikha Pan, was face down in front of the sectional leather couch. She was wearing green, silky Winnie the Pooh PJs. She was soaking her feet before the intruders came, and that because the first responders noticed that her feet were soaking wet. So that's why her feet were still wet. And the investigator of this case, Mike Stesko, this is what he says when he comes to this crime scene.
There was a lot of blood. It was real dark, sort of thick colored blood. It wasn't like the trail we followed down, light sort of splatter. It was thicker. It was by her head, and then she had a blue towel over her head.
Now, this is the daughter. She was the one that called 911. This is Jennifer Pan. She was upstairs, tied to the top floor banister. She had a cell phone in her pocket. Her hands were tied up behind her back with a bootlace. She had no bruises. And I'd like to say there was no DNA evidence in the house or whatsoever. All the assailants were using gloves, and, you know, they didn't lose any hair or whatever. There's nothing found.
How old was she?
Well, she's my age. She's 34.
At the time?
So at the time, this was...
No, this 2010, so she was 24.
Okay.
24.
All right.
And she actually had no bruises on her at all.
Not even from like any ligature marks where she was tied up?
Well, the officer did uncut her, so she was tied up on the banister.
Right, but like did she have any...
No.
Like for how long she was there for, you know what I mean?
No, I mean, she was just tied up with a bootlace.
Nothing.
It doesn't... Or she says, quote, "I heard a couple of pops and I heard my mom scream. And then I heard a couple more pops." Now, she gave an initial description of the 3 men. One was smaller than the other 2, and one had dreadlocks. Now, she did give a more detailed description here in a second, and I'm going to share that with you. But this is where she was in the house. What you're looking at now is the banister with the boot string tied up there. And you see, so her hands were behind her back, tied up on the banister.
I just feel like that's such a strange place to tie someone up. Like you could with a bootlace, you could use some force and like either displace the baluster on the banister and get down the stairs, or you can kind of pull.
Yeah, but she's a what are they going? She going to overpower 3 dudes with guns? Like,
I'm just saying, after they left her, I don't know. It just doesn't add up to me.
all right, here's her telling police about the night.
The other guy had a gun behind my head and asked my mom where her purse was. My mom kept trying to get up, and they kept telling her, sit down. And so I didn't want her to get hurt, so I told her, Mom, sit down. They were trying to find her wallet, but her English isn't good, so she kept saying purse. They kept pushing her down onto the chair.
Okay.
So she was in the same room as her parents, and then they brought her upstairs?
No. She was already upstairs.
And then they brought the parents downstairs?
This house has a downstairs basement and an upstairs.
Right.
So they were just in the living room area.
Uh-huh.
And she's on the baluster, so she can see them.
She is in her room and upstairs in her own room. The robbers come in, they bring them to the basement, the 2 parents, and then they go up and tie Jennifer up to the banister. And since there's 3 of them, they can do this quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't have to all stay on one. Like there was only one person up there
Okay.
with Jennifer. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
To control her. Then you had the other two that was controlling the father and the mother. Now, one of the big questions about this incident that the detectives had right off the bat is when they listened to the 911 call and they asked the same question you did. Hey, how can you call 911 if your hands are tied behind your back? Now, she was wearing yoga pants at the time and her phone was in her back left butt pocket.
Her yoga pants had pockets?
Yeah.
My yoga pants do not have pockets.
Neither do mine, but
So
I'm
here-
kind of jealous.
So here is her in the interview explaining how she did that. And also, I need to point out, it wasn't an iPhone, it was a flip phone. So it's another added layer of difficulty.
Yep, they didn't have the fingerprint touch thing.
Stand up and turn around. Put this in the side that you believe it was in. Great. Turn around so that you're looking away from me. You're looking exactly like, now here is where the banister is. Put your hands back behind your back, exactly how you remember they were. Okay? Now, and are you restrained from movement? How far can you move your hands from the banister?
They tied my upper arm
Yes?
around the banister,
Yes?
but my hands were bound together.
So your hands bound together, and this is the arm that's the strings wrapped around against the banister? Mm-hmm. Okay, so now how can you get to the phone? And how do you make the phone call? 911? Mm-hmm. And do you talk down like that?
Yes, I'm yelling at the phone like this.
And how can you hear?
I turned the volume on max.
Yes?
I don't know.
So that's exactly the way that you're talking to her against the railing. Okay, that's good enough. Sit down.
That's
so
good enough. Sit down.
The hard part is when she said
so
it was
harsh.
tied on her upper arm. It was like the wrist, like you could kind of see it happening. So if I also demonstrate, if I do have something in my back pocket, get it here.
Yeah, but see,
can
you're
do it
moving your whole
here.
arm. You're
Exactly.
actually tied up to the pole, the banister pole. You don't see that here in the interview, which I think the detective because you lose momentum or you lose leverage when you're tied up like that.
But what I'm saying is, it is the fact that my other upper arm is moving so much, unless they tied it incredibly loosely.
Also, when the first time when he says to put her hands behind her back, I didn't see the first time, but I did notice when, like, if she put which wrist she put on top of the other, and if it switched the second time that she put it behind her back. I didn't notice that. I was going to ask about that, but
So she didn't have anything to do with this.
I called. She does.
I think I want to see what happens before I share what I thought. But I think that as soon as I heard the 911 call, I was a little suspicious.
All right, if you want to read this, Nicole, this is from Detective Al Cook. He was one of the interviewees, and I'm actually pulling this quote from the book that I read for this story. The book is called A Daughter's Deadly Deception by Jeremy Grimaldi. He was the crime reporter that was assigned to this case, and he wrote this book about the Jennifer Pan story. So if you want to read this.
It doesn't take long before Detective Al Cook, observing from an adjacent room, notices something troubling. When Jennifer is given a tissue, it comes away dry. There are no tears. When she came into her first interview, obviously, yes, we were watching, he says. She wasn't crying. She wasn't very upset. She could have been in shock, so you can't rely on that as a piece of evidence. It's just something you look at, and maybe it'll mean something later.
I mean, people react to shock in different ways.
Yeah.
You know, so you can't really go off that. Here's her description of the robbers. Robber number one, carried a handgun. He wore black leather gloves. He had a Canadian accent. And then a contradictory statement. He had a roundish, squarish face. Robber number 2 was running back and forth between the 2 other men. He had a long oval face, a dark hoodie, and a bandana covered his nose, and he never spoke a word.
So how can you tell what shape face he had if he's wearing a bandana?
I guess she's just seeing shapes. Like some people are colorblind, so they only see one color. Other people just see people as shapes. So a big
I don't
circle.
think that's how that works, but okay.
Also, if she's from Canada, why would she state that he had a Canadian accent?
Well, because a lot of Canada has most immigrants. In this part of Ontario, it's mostly these boat people.
Interesting. Okay.
It's like the majority Asian in this one area.
Okay.
So, I mean, you look at the father that doesn't even speak English. One of them has a Canadian accent, and the other one, number 3, is holding the parents at gunpoint. He has a Caribbean accent. Now, she said she heard her mother return home before this happened after supper. This was at 9:30 p.m. She came home from her dance lesson that she does every Monday night at her church, which is why she was soaking her feet, because she's been up dancing. Jennifer had her friend Adrian over, and they were watching How I Met Your Mother and Gossip Girl. Then she leaves, and then at 10:13, which is 40 minutes later, this happens, is when the door gets broken down. So I'm just going to break it to you. She plotted this whole thing.
Were there any intruders after all? Like, did she hire people, or was that all, like, did she do it all?
I mean, there were intruders. I don't think she could mastermind this whole thing. And
Stranger things have happened.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. There's CCTV video out there. I put it on talkmurder.com. It's not CCTV. It's like a home security system that captures the 3 robbers running in.
Okay.
It also
So
captures their car, their Acura, parked down the street.
But hired by her or something.
I don't know. Just let me get in the story. Okay. So this is the detective interviewing her. Now, the entire interview now this covers multiple days that she came in is 10 hours long. I'll put that on talkmurder.com if you guys want to skip through it and watch it. It's a long one. But this is kind of when the detectives kind of changed strategy, and now they're saying, hey, we know you had something to do with this.
Let's be honest with each other. I've been nothing but honest with you here today, and I hope you can do the same with me. I'm here to listen. It's hurting you.
What happened?
I need to know the details. I can't even say.
So she says, what will happen to me?
But I can tell you one thing.
That's what she says.
Is that we already know, so you can't change that.
I wanted it to stop.
I know.
She says,
why didn't they stop?
I wanted it to stop. So there's her confession.
I didn't know who they were.
But you were part of the planning, right?
All right, so a little bit about Canadian law. The detectives can't actually answer that question when a suspect doesn't confess but says, what will happen to me if I said I did it? They can't do that. That's why you heard the detective redirecting it, saying, I don't know, but we have to do this first. You have to confess first. They got to get the confession. They can't make promises and stuff like that, because that has gotten a lot of investigator detectives in trouble. This photo right here is Jennifer Pan and her brother Felix. This is at the mom's funeral. Now, the detectives followed her incognitus to see how she would react. And she was crying, but there's no tears. They kept bringing that up, no tears. So do you guys know what tiger parenting is?
Tiger mom. Wasn't that a whole thing for a while?
Yeah.
All right, so what is tiger parenting?
It's not like super intense, like hardcore, do better type parenting, like tough love.
The term tiger parenting was actually coined in 2011 by a Yale law professor, Amy Chow, in her best-selling memoir, Battle Hymn of the Tiger Mother. Tiger parenting is a form of strict or demanding parenting. Tiger parents push and pressure their children to attain high levels of academic achievement or success in high-status extracurricular activities such as music, using authoritarian parenting methods. The two principal rules, according to the battle hymn of the Tiger Mother, go something like this. Schoolwork always comes first. Children must always be 2 years ahead of their classmates in math. They should never be complimented in public. Parents must always take the side of the teacher or coaches above their children. An A- is a bad grade. Holy tits, really?
Jeez.
They would have freaking bought me a car if I got an A-. I'm like, you sure you didn't fake this? And children should only be permitted to engage in activities in which they can eventually win medals, always gold medals. So any type of music. She was actually a pianist and an ice skater. She excelled in both. And she was straight A student in school. So this story is...
So her parents pushed her.
Hard. And a lot of times the tiger moms, tiger dads push them way too far. They make them, they isolate the children in their rooms and make them do better. It's the immigrant thing, you know, they want to do better.
Can see it, yeah.
Which is great. I mean, look at Americans, man. We're just fucking lazy.
I mean, there's definitely tiger parents in America for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, this is from her boyfriend, which she wasn't allowed to be dating anyone, but his name is Daniel Wong.
And she was 24 at the time?
Mm-hmm. She wasn't allowed to date boys. And this is what he says.
It's interesting, even though we talked about her age before, she looks so much younger.
Mm-hmm.
She looks like 10 years younger in those photos. Like, she looks like a little baby. You don't think?
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, she definitely looks like she should be in high school.
Yeah. Jennifer, coming from a strict Asian home, was not allowed to date boys. She was a figure skater and she also played piano. That's why in high school she really had no time for a relationship. It would be early morning skating and then high school and then piano or skating again after school. Her parents pretty much drove her to the path where there was no time for a relationship. There were times I started to get serious about her, Daniel admits, but I knew in the back of my mind, we've been together for 7 years and I haven't formally sat down or met her parents or just eaten dinner with them or anything like that. The only thing has been, hi, how are you? I couldn't call her house looking for her. I'd always have to call her cell phone. I didn't want to call because then they might yell at me.
One reason they didn't want Jennifer to date Daniel was because he was half Chinese, which I guess that's a bad thing if you're a Vietnamese.
Yeah.
I don't see why. I didn't want to look into that, but they did not approve of that. So the father was a factory worker and hoped Jennifer would become an American doctor.
Okay.
With a great salary. Unfortunately, she wanted to become a music teacher, which doesn't pay anything.
No.
So eventually the father settled on her becoming a pharmacist. So she has no say in it at all. It's their choice. She's interested in music. She's gifted at it. She wins all these awards for it. She wants to become a music teacher. Her dad's like, no, you're going to become a doctor. I mean,
that's hard.
That's hard because,
hard?
yeah. And now he actually changed his mind because she didn't like blood. So now she was on track to become a pharmacist. So yes, Jennifer did know all of the killers tonight. Now in this episode, we're not going to actually go into the killers. I'll tell you how they got sentenced, but I didn't want to go into all their backstories.
It's not, they were like hitmen for hire almost.
They're hitmen for hire. She knew them all and they were common thugs. They were all gang members. And this is them right here. The three at the top, and Daniel Wong is on the right. That's the boyfriend. Okay, so the three at top.
So they knew the boyfriend.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
They knew him, and they were dating for 7 years, but they never... I mean, she's 24. She couldn't even bring him to the house.
No, I think she meant the killers. So the killers know the boyfriend.
Oh, yeah. No,
like
yeah.
They were in his circle?
So the killers were in his circle, and then she got the bridge from her boyfriend. Now, they were all in the drug trade. So a lot of this... Yeah, and this is a wire case. So if you guys ever watched the show The Wire...
Fantastic
It's all
show.
about... What's it about?
Shit. It's about drugs.
Yeah, what's it really about? What's the premise? The Wire.
Wiretapping?
Wiretapping. So it's all about cell phone wiretapping. That's what the premise of the show is. And this was before This was like new technology back in the day.
That show came out in 1999.
Yeah, so it was like right when cell phones were a thing. The story comes down to one thing, and you're about to hear why she plotted to do this, but it comes down to an ultimatum that the father gives her, which I like to call old tomatoes.
I was just going to say that.
The father gives her an old tomato.
And did she say tomato?
No, so the father gives her an ultimatum that is basically this, because they found out she is staying with Daniel for 3 nights a week when she's supposed to be in college doing her study for pharmacy school. She's actually not in college. She's working at a pizza joint.
Oh, shit.
She's hanging out with Daniel Wong, which is half Chinese. Yeah, can you believe that shit?
Oh, boy.
Oh, my God.
Oh, boy.
Chinese.
She in trouble.
Exactly. Working at a pizza shop, not going to college. Her grades started plummeting. This was way before. It all culminated when they found out that she's sneaking around with him. Now, she's 24 years old, and she has a curfew.
She's a grown-ass woman.
Yeah. But the ultimatum was either you go with him or you come with your family. And it's not if your parents are like, here's your ultimatum. You either break up with that girl and we'll continue to support you and pay for your college, or you can continue going with that girl and we're not going to pay for your college. That's how it usually goes. Yeah. But in this family, the Tiger parenting family, it's here's your ultimatum. You either go with Daniel Wong and you are completely divorced from the family whatsoever. You can never talk to us again. You cannot hang out with us. Don't even ever come back. You're disowned. Wow. Or you either break up with him for good and you come with us, and then you never leave the house and you never see him again. That's the ultimatum they gave her.
That's a pretty rough old tomato.
Holy shit. That's a pretty bad old tomato.
It's a terrible old tomato.
Moldy.
So she started failing in high school, all her grades. This was in high school. She started failing. Started hanging out with Daniel Wong, is half Chinese, and he's doing drugs. He is connected to the drug trade.
Interesting.
And she actually doctors a University of Toronto acceptance letter.
Whoa!
Kind of like that movie Accepted.
Yes,
when they made
love that
fake
movie.
She never actually went to college at all. Okay, now she family
had that charade going for that
long.
for
years. So she was living with her family.
Holy
and
tits.
The way she was living with Daniel 3 nights a week is she told her parents, and they believed it, that she was staying with a friend at university so she didn't have to drive all the way home 3 nights a week.
So wait a minute. So
and she was actually staying at Daniel's house, not going to college, and working at a pizza joint.
So I'm assuming if her parents were supporting her under the assumption that she was in college,
they were still giving her money. Yeah.
Where is all that money going? Did they send the University of Toronto like a check, or did they give it to her to pay?
They may have given it to her.
I mean,
she probably could have easily come up with a reason why it should go. They should just write it to her, and then she takes care of it or something.
Okay, all right. You guys don't understand. It wasn't just the university that she's saying oh yeah, classes are good. She actually bought textbooks and would sit at home and highlight in them, pretend that she's studying. She would have conversations at the dinner table about her professors, which were all fake. Right? What? She didn't have professors because she wasn't in college. She was a pizza girl.
She's just making it all up.
She was working at this pizza shop.
I wonder if she had
This is
friends.
perfect timing. It's National Pizza Day.
Yeah. I wonder if she had like friends that were at the university and they would tell her about her classes and she would copy the stories or something.
Maybe. She's just, it's all. So did her parents ever find out that this was not real?
Yeah. And that was right before this culminated. All right, if you want to read this, this is from the Vancouver Sun, July 28th, 2015.
When it came time for the University of Toronto graduation ceremony, Pan told her parents that there weren't enough tickets around and they could not attend. Ultimately, Ho wrote, Pan's parents got suspicious and began tailing her and learned the truth. When she confessed her deceptions, life in the Pan household quickly began to unravel. Pan's parents placed further restrictions on the now adult daughter. No more cell phone, no more laptop, no more clandestine dates with her boyfriend, Daniel Wong. While she eventually gained more freedom, Pan stayed angry. She thought about how much better her life would be without her parents, and so with Wong's help, she plotted to kill the two people who had made her life like house arrest.
So, check this out.
I mean, that's a long-ass charade, motherfucker.
She actually made...
is...
This is her Bachelor of Science from a university she never even attended. She made that on Photoshop. I should have got her to do mine. Because University of Phoenix, they just photoshopped it.
Yeah, I mean, at least you know that you got it from the university, so that's the nice thing.
So this is from a prestigious school, the University of Toronto, for pharmacy.
I mean,
Bachelor of Science in Pharmacy.
Okay, but really think about this. Like, she had this charade since she was in high school, falsifying her grades, her acceptance letter. College, her entire college.
Let me step it up one.
And graduation, that is at least a 5-year charade.
Let me step it up
Especially
one more
for
thing.
pharmacy.
Well, let me step it up one more level for you. So this is her diploma from University of Toronto. She actually never graduated high school.
What?
No.
She was at like her junior and senior year, her grades plummeted. So she was faking her report cards.
So
that
did she attend to graduation?
Those A minuses were really D's and F's, and then she dropped out. She didn't attend her graduation. At her ceremony here, you heard, I mean, how are you going to fake that? How are you going to fake graduating from university? Well, all the seats were sold out. That's what she tells her parents. And then... my favorite, well, can we see the pictures? Oh, no, there are pictures, but my friend had to go back to China, and she has them on her camera. So I didn't get them before she left.
Well, but how about high school, though? How did she get out of that?
Right?
I don't know. I guess they just didn't go to the graduation because she didn't. She didn't graduate. She never graduated high school.
Wow.
And then she started moving in with Wong, so she was faking this whole charade. This is crazy. Yeah, I know.
That is a long game, man.
I know.
You can't keep that up. You cannot keep that up with your parents.
Yeah, mad respect. Holy shit.
No. That's where I was going with that, but
To think the only thing that like I've hidden from my parents is the fact that I had a party one time when they were gone. Like
I never did that.
Like, and it was even after high school. It was in college. And then my sister was like trying to hold it over my head for the longest time, but yeah.
Damn.
No, this is it, man. I mean, that's all photoshopped. Crazy.
Wow.
And by party, I meant there were 5 people.
That's tiger parenting, man.
I don't blame that shit on tiger parenting though. Like she's the one who failed out of school.
So in the book, there are a lot of reporters in the trial, and the book was talking about they also had tiger parents. And so I remember the author was saying one of the reporters, a successful reporter, same thing, Asian boat people parents. She came out of the courtroom and she said, "That's nothing. You should have seen what my dad did to me."
It's like
I mean, she was basically a lot of the trial was her in isolation.
I get that it is hard, and there's helicopter parents and whatever, and I know that like when the whole tiger parenting phrase came out, like that was a big, ooh, everyone had like horror stories about their parents.
Yeah,
but. At the end of the day, like, your parents are pushing you. They're pushing you to do better and to reach for something that you otherwise maybe wouldn't. And, like, I get that it's a lot. I'm not saying, like, you should do all the things that they did and choose her career for her. There's a balance.
I think it's same in Canada, but 7 years for pharmacy school.
I think you're missing the point of what it is that I'm saying.
No, I'm saying she was doing this, in high school. she was changing her grades. She never graduated. But then after that, another 7 years.
Right. She was planning on doing that charade for that long.
Yeah. Sorry, I was.
But what I'm saying is, like, at the end of the day, like, I don't think it's wrong for a parent to push a child to get good grades and to do good things. I don't know.
Kids. If I have kids, I don't know where they are or who they are.
Well, that's good. Hopefully they don't come knocking on our door.
And which is great, because that means I'm not a tiger parent, because I just don't know if they're even out there.
Yeah, that's a different thing altogether, but
I'm more of a absentee parent. All right, if you want to read this is from her. This is her own quote.
The choice was living out on my own with Daniel or staying at home with my parents, she says. Living like that was okay. It wasn't the best feeling in the world because I always felt trapped. But it's what I chose, to be with my family. Family always comes first.
So until you decide to murder them.
Yeah, I know. So she did choose her family, but
she really didn't. She chose that as a part of the charade.
Oh, I forgot to mention the dad's alive.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so
good.
Yeah, I probably should have mentioned that. The dad actually survived, which she didn't count on, because that threw a whole wrench in the plan. Do you remember the 911 call where he runs out of the house? Mm-hmm. What kind of father runs out of the house without their daughter? So the father testified in court that she could, because he was supposed to be dead, he could actually hear upstairs the daughter being buddy and friendly with the one of the robbers.
Oh.
He could hear the whole thing the whole time.
Oh,
and
shit.
the mother was actually just collateral damage, because the mother really wasn't a tiger parent. She was the one always sticking up for Jennifer, always telling the dad, you're too hard on her. Just let her see this guy. So what's really fucked up is that the mother, that she would plan to kill the mother in all this, but she really wanted to kill both of them. Yes, fucked up. Anyway, this from the National Post, March.
So did he? So he realized while this was going down,
that this was her daughter.
This was planned by her.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it took him a few weeks. So when you saw the first police interview, he was still in a medically induced coma for a couple of weeks. Then he comes out and he's like, "She did it," basically. So think about that. I mean, you destroyed your whole family.
I mean, she would not have gotten very far without that too. Once the police started digging into her background, I went to University of Toronto. Quick check. No, you didn't.
She may have gotten away with it if she was a little smarter, because they...
Yeah, by graduating high school and
I'm saying
college.
If the dad would have died, I think she may have had a good chance. And if she would have done better, because there was... I can't remember the exact number, but I believe there was over 1 million texts through all these drug dealers and everything that were intercepted by these detectives. It was maybe it was 1 million bytes of data or whatever. It was a large quantity of text messages, and these are all from burner phones. So the whole book is like watching The Wire. They take you through how they're trying to trace and link up these gang members, because they don't have the gang members, the guys you saw, the killers, they don't use their real names anywhere. And they're always using burner phones. So she was texting all these random numbers on her other phone, which was her iPhone, because she was only allowed to have a flip phone, which she called 911 on. But her iPhone, if she would have she destroyed the SIM card, but she didn't realize those text messages are saved in whatever hosting, AT&T Cloud. Or Verizon or whatever. But if they couldn't have got those messages, I believe she would have got walk free. And I'm going to show you why right here.
Maybe. Yeah.
But let me talk about another motive. So she's going to kill her parents, and then what? Like, just go be a pizza girl all of her life?
Well,
she gets
probably
the money.
Yeah.
So there you go. And this is from the National Post, March 26, 2014.
You have to wait until I'm dead. At the time of the attack, after decades of hard work in the auto parts industry, the couple had paid off their Markham house, managed some decent savings. They were, with the house and life insurance worth close to $1 million, raised Jennifer and her younger brother Felix, and were putting them both through university.
Each sibling would have gotten $500,000. Now, Felix, the brother, didn't even know about the life insurance policy, but she did because she has to pay off these killers. There's a contract hit. The kill was for $10,000. That was the agreed price of the hit. Both parents, $5,000 a head. That was their price to kill her both parents and then make it look like a suicide. That was the hit. Now, do you think this story is crazy? And it is, but there's a twist. So she sits in prison for 3 years, and then she goes to trial.
Wait, I have a question.
What?
So they were supposed to make it look like a suicide. So if the
No, it's supposed to make it look like a robbery.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said suicide.
No, they're supposed to make it look like a robbery.
Oh.
But so if they would have actually made it look like a robbery and stole stuff, money or whatever.
Yeah, they didn't steal anything.
Not only that, if she would have, destroyed the phone, and if he didn't die, because the detective...
Or if he did die.
If he did die, because when the detectives were interviewing him, the whole time she, now knows that her father is going to be talking here in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And she actually asked the detective, or she said, do you have to interview, are you going to interview him as well? Type of thing.
Don't tell my parents.
Anyway.
I wonder if she had them do this when she was not home, if that would have helped her.
This is kind of the twist that really drives this case crazy. She sits in prison. Now, she never really admits to anything. I mean, she does. If you watch the interview, it's just kind of,
She toes it.
She toes the line a lot. A couple years later, she testifies in court herself. Now, a good thing to know about Canadian law is there's no cameras in court. You can't have cameras. You can't have cell phones. So they go back to the old drawings of the pictures, and you can't actually see the court testimony, which I think is kind of good, actually, because then the case doesn't blow up, like freaking all over the place. Anyway, she says she first tries to get her father killed at his workplace for $1,300. However, then she changed her mind, and her father started being nicer to her, so she changed her mind. However, the guy that she was contacting, quote, homeboy was his name, with the help of her boyfriend Wong, says that, well, you can't change your mind unless you pay a cancellation fee. Just like a fucking...
It's like a hotel reservation.
Interesting.
She actually calls homeboy, tells her that she changed her mind, and now he's requesting an $8,500 cancellation fee.
Whoa!
So
Hold up.
So
That's
she's
kind of
like,
messed up that
then
your
you're like,
cancellation fee is higher than his fee to kill someone.
I guess we may as well go through with it.
what you're reading right now is from the Toronto Star, August 19th, 2020. This is what she tells the full court and all the jury. This is what what really happened.
I tried to have myself killed, not parents. Jennifer Pan tells murder trial.
She actually says, all right, she puts a hit out on her dad. She cancels it because she has a change of heart. Then she puts a hit out on herself for $10,000.
Is this validated in the text messages? Okay.
No, the text
I was about to say, because I smell some bullshit
the
on that
text
one.
messages is the nail in the coffin. That really, I mean, they're like, no, this didn't happen. But, I mean, if there wasn't the text messages, because it's a really bold move of her. And
for someone who, you know, didn't go to all the schooling that she said she did, that is pretty smart.
It is really smart. And I thought of that too. She gets in front of the jury, which has never heard of this. They didn't know she was going to do this. And she gives this long testimony, I mean, hours about her whole plan. She wanted to kill her dad, Tiger parents, because he was too hard on her. But then she changed her mind, and then these cancellation fees. Then she's like, you know what? I'll just put the hit out on myself so I don't have to pay the cancellation fees. And, you know, I hate myself anyway. I might as well die. Anyway, before the hit took place, she actually attempted to cancel that on herself, but then the robbers came in and they didn't get the change of...
They didn't get her text message.
They didn't get that memo. Oh, we got to kill you now kind of shit.
She must have run out of data. on those text messages.
Because she actually signaled them with the light. You can see that on the security camera. The light signals, which is kind of eerie. Her bedroom light signals. So she actually says that the hit was for herself, but they came in. She tried to cancel it, but couldn't pay the cancellation fee.
That's the dumbest shit I think I've ever heard in my entire life.
It was actually pretty smart to say that, though. And she said the reason she lied in the interview to begin with is because she was scared and yada, 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 and all this stuff. But, I mean, it was a pretty powerful thing to do. I've never heard of anyone do that before.
I mean, I will, if she didn't have all those text message trails, that would have been a pretty genius move.
I'm just wondering, though, if she put out a hit on herself, this is a hypothetical question. If she put out a hit on herself and they went to pull it off but were not successful, would the hit person be legally responsible or no, because she probably wouldn't press charges?
What?
Like if they weren't successful?
Yeah.
Are you asking for a friend?
I don't know.
Hello, are you a hit person?
Can I get a refund? Here I was with a source, someone who could potentially know the streetways and potentially help me in finding a way to commit suicide, she tells the court. I inquired about it. I inquired how much it was to kill a person. The person on the line, homeboy, said for a friend it would be $10,000 to $15,000. In one conversation I said, I wanted it for myself. And the person on the other end was quite shocked. They're like, really? You want to kill yourself? And I said, yes, I do want to kill myself. They kept inquiring, are you sure you want to kill yourself? And I said, yes, I'm sure. It took some convincing.
Fucking crazy. You know what's really fucked up? When her dad got out of the coma, she goes to her bedside, which the dad did not want to see her. She asked him for $1,200. Like
for the fee?
To pay off the cancellation fee and shit like that. Because the robbers, the killers, they didn't get anything. You know, now they're still trying to get the money. So what they were going to do, she was going to get this big life insurance policy. So she was going to be flush with cash and she can just pay off the killers.
The audacity.
No shit, right?
So what,
hey, sorry I tried to have you killed. Can I have some money so that I can cover that, or is that not okay?
So what did happen to the three
There
guys?
were 5 people all involved. Her,
the boyfriend,
and the other
guys.
3,
Yeah.
which is crazy. Because, and I guess this is a good way to not make it a case too expensive, but they all were tried together, which is not good for, like, let's say the driver of the car, or not the driver, but the one that didn't have a gun or whatever, or even the boyfriend, Daniel Wong, you know what I'm saying? Like, he wasn't even there.
He was a conspirator.
Exactly. But if they're all tried together, the sentiment is, oh, they're all equally guilty type of shit. So they tried them all together. Jennifer Pan and her boyfriend Wong and David Mavalgnum and one of the other guys, Crawford, they all received life in prison. Jennifer has a life in prison with a chance of parole within 25 years. The one other guy that was a robber there actually got off completely scot-free because they all had individual lawyers at the trial. So there's a lot of lawyers in that freaking thing. Every client had an individual one. The lawyer got really sick, like heart complications or something, didn't go into it, but he actually almost died. So they had to pull him out, the whole guy, and they never tried him again. They just...
Oh, wow.
I mean, yeah. I mean, they just labeled it as a mistrial. Yeah, it was really lucky. That's basically the Jennifer Pan story. It's a pretty large story, but that's kind of the slimmed down version. Kind of crazy.
Wow.
Tiger parenting.
I can't believe she has the option of parole, though.
Can't you, though?
In 25 years. I know, it's Canada. God.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's just crazy because you try to kill your family, and now your dad is testifying against you in court because you killed his wife, you know, and your mom.
I mean, can you imagine the poor brother, too? Like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How distraught he must be.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, that is the Jennifer Pan story. Pretty interesting. And that's
Very
for you, Lauren.
fascinating.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lauren.
Excellent story request, as always.
Yeah, so, and that story goes a lot deeper, but that's as far as I can go with it.
What's the other avenue? Just
Well, I could get into all the killers individually.
Nah,
you know what I'm saying?
it's really about her. She was the hitman.
Yeah,
for
that's
hire.
why I didn't want to confuse all that stuff with anyone else. And they're pretty much common thugs. The book does go into some detail about their home life and each one of them. It gets really confusing because there's a lot of players.
Was the book good? Would you recommend it? It looked like it was an award-winning book.
Yeah, it was really good. I did like it. It was, like I said, a little long. It was like 400 something pages.
Wow.
But I mean, it was pretty good. Thought it was pretty good. Especially if you don't know the stories. I don't like to look up the stories first. I just like reading it so I can like be shocked. Because I had no idea that, I mean, I kind of knew a little bit about the story, but I had no idea that she actually told the jury that the hit was for herself.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
That is an
And
interesting
that
twist.
shit almost worked too.
If it wasn't for those
Meddling-
texts and stuff like
Meddling
that.
text
Yeah.
messages.
Yeah. And I mean, the detectives, kudos on them, because if it wasn't for those texts, I think it would have went a lot differently. And I'm telling you, there's thousands and thousands of texts, and there's screenshots I can put on talkmurder.com, and they're all in like really slang,
Like code.
real slang, like real slang, like not even like rapper slang, but just you can't even read it. Like the book has to translate each one of
Oh,
them.
wow.
Each like word used. It's like real slang.
Do you think they were purposely
Yeah,
trying
they're
to talk
purposely
in code?
doing it. Yeah, doing that on purpose, you know.
Wow.
But anyway, so that is the story of Jennifer Pan. I hope you guys like that. That's for Lauren. She requested it on our forum, talkmurder.com/join if you'd like to support us. And I see Jen requested some stories on there too. Some Casey Anthony stories. I've been putting a lot of stories on there. I'm requesting.
I saw them.
I want to do that one hitchhiker guy. Remember the homeless hitchhiker?
Yes.
I want to do that story.
Do it.
I think he killed somebody, didn't he? With an axe? I don't know. Anyway.
Maybe it was the hitchhiker that my mom saw, the ghost.
Yeah. Anyway, that is the story, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you haven't yet, subscribe on any podcast platform. We're also on YouTube, and you can find us on there. Be sure to subscribe. And my name is John, and until next time, good night, you lovely, lovely people.